If you've been enjoying our podcast as much as we have and hope that we continue past 50 episodes, here's your chance. Here's your chance to help make that happen. By becoming a Patreon subscriber, not only will you help the Little House on the Prairie 50th Anniversary podcast to live on, but you'll also get exclusive content just for you.
Here's what's in store for you. Join monthly Q&A sessions where you can ask us about anything. Whether it's about our work, personal interests, or advice on your own projects, we're here to connect and share.
Enjoy unique content created specifically for Patreon subscribers, including bonus segments from our shows.
You'll have a say in what we create, and you'll have a voice in future content.
Benefit from exclusive discounts on merchandise and entries into special giveaways. It's our way of saying thank you for your support.
Receive personalized shout-outs in videos, podcasts, or social media posts.
Because your support on Patreon allows us to dedicate more resources to creating the content that you love.
You could join the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast community on Patreon and become a Prairie patron for just $5 a month. We thank you so much for your continued support, and we cannot wait to share our ongoing journey with you on Patreon.
We are extremely grateful for the support of VisitSimiValley.com and the city of Simi Valley's belief in Little House on the Prairie and their support of the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast.
Discover the charm of Simi Valley, California, the home of the Prairie. Visit Simi Valley, where adventure meets history and the spirit of the Prairie comes alive. Explore the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library. Step aboard Air Force One. Enjoy stunning hikes and savor delicious local cuisine. Whether you're here for a weekend getaway or a family vacation, Simi Valley offers something for everyone and is only 30 minutes from Los Angeles. Plan your visit today and experience the best of Simi Valley. Go to visitsimivalley.com for more details. Your adventure awaits in Simi Valley.
Well, it's that time again, Bonnet Heads. Welcome back. I am Pamela Bob, your host. I'm the creator of Living on a Prairie. If you haven't watched it yet, come on, guys, get it together. Get it together. I am here also with our favorite one and only Prairie bitch, Alison Arngrum. Hello, Alison.
Hello.
Hello. And of course, there she is, evil. In a print blouse and and our hashtag imaginary boyfriend. That's right, Dean Butler. How are you guys?
Good. Hi, Pamela.
Awesome,
good morning.
Awesome. It's so crazy.
You know, it's sort of fun. This morning is sort of fun. This week has felt like fall in Southern California for the first time. It's really, we've had this break. We had this massive heat wave last week when we were doing this. And this week it magically started off. It feels like September, October already. I don't know if it's going to last, but I love this.
We call this false fall.
Yeah, okay.
It's going to be like this. It's like the leaves are turning. It's foggy. It might rain a little.
It's great.
I had a pumpkin spice latte the other day.
And she started with
love
the
that.
By Tuesday, it'll be 99 degrees. So...
What? Oh, is that a cat?
That was Tony. Sorry, what? That was... Are you okay?
We haven't heard that sound effect. Was that a cat or was that Donald Duck? Tony, which one was it?
It was okay, Donald Duck stepping on a cat. I don't know. That was great.
Well, it's been lovely here too. It was hot, a little hotter the past couple of days, but this week is going to be like low 70. It's
that's great. That's great.
Sweater weather. Actually, not quite sweater weather yet.
Light sweater weather.
Light sweater.
We love sweater weather.
Yeah.
Sweater weather. You guys have also had a big week this week. Well, Alison had a big event.
It's just been bananas. This whole year has been bananas, and it got more bananas. So, Simi Valley again, scene of the crime. So we went and our guest was there too. So it was the 50th anniversary of my episode of Country Girls, 50 years since I became the designated bitch of America. And We had a screening. They did the whole. It's
Benign, evil, and pin curl.
It was in the spooky basement ghost mall. There was a Macy's or something, because it was great. It was a huge space, nice and clean, really nice, and they had little Twinkie lights everywhere. But there was the spooky dead escalator. It was wonderful. I loved it. And they had a screen up and a bunch of chairs. They had popcorn. They had snacks. And you guys, I didn't know we were selling beforehand. I'm like, we're selling beforehand. I have stuff. And we had little tables and people.
Yeah.
The number of people who came in full Prairie gear.
Like 150 people? Or
I think, how many, the women in nighties with the bonnets and the lady in the full, we had so many in costume, about 100 people and a whole lot of people in costume for that.
Yeah.
And they were really into it.
They love you.
And thank you. We spoke, and then he'd been big introduction. And then huge screen, screened the whole episode. And they every time Tracie Savage, Christy Kennedy came, they cheered. And then every time I came on, they all giggled and shrieked and carried on. And they didn't throw things at the screen, though. They did not throw. It was wonderful. It was lovely.
Well, people were enjoying their popcorn. They didn't want to throw popcorn at the screen. Yes, it was sort of a Rocky Horror kind of.
Although it would have been even more Rocky Horror if they actually did throw the popcorn.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Who knows? Maybe we can start something with that.
Yeah.
Good. Well, this is the 50th anniversary year of Little House, and we're looking back on special episodes, are we not?
We are.
We are.
Absolutely. Last week, we talked about Country Girls. Tonight, we're doubling down on Country Girls with Alison and another actress who made the Little House debut on Country Girls.
Yes, and we love her.
Oh, well, we said actress, so we tipped it.
I think if they're into the show, they knew who was on Country Girls. They knew who was there.
Yeah.
They knew who was standing right there. And she's right there when I call the girls Country Girls. And it's her little brother character in the show, that horrid...
Snipe, long-legged
horrid
Snipe.
Redheaded child, that horrid little boy. And then he interrupts my speech. I mean, that kid was annoying. So there you go. So yeah, it's her. We are going to talk to her, but first let's talk about Patreon quickly. Great that I watch it. Over 300 now on Patreon have joined us on our little Patreon channel, which we're very excited about. And and they've joined us as we are celebrating Country Girls. We sent some footage to Joy and Christina. Yes. There will be a little package that will appear on Patreon for the patrons to see our event.
Joy and Christine are our miraculous and wonderful social media.
They're awesome.
And he's got, because Dean stood right next to me at one point while I was watching it with the camera here, watching my reactions, watching it. We got stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so that will be up on Patreon. So, if you guys, if you haven't joined Patreon yet, you're missing the party.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so much fun. I love Patreon. Okay. Before we launch into Country Girls, we want to remind you that, you can watch the Lovin' Little House 50th anniversary celebration, the Cozy TV documentary.
Right.
Its final airing on Wednesday, September 25th at 12 noon Eastern time. Now, so many people are writing in and who don't necessarily have access to Cozy TV, and I don't think there's any other way to
There is no other way to see it. There is no other way to see it. Because of the rights issues involved in the footage that's being used, they can't just stream it out there. What the Cozy people said is if you have any sort of recording technology attached to your computer, you need to record it as it's playing, and then you'll have it for yourself. But they are not able to, at least at this point, sell it or distribute it any other way than on their air. Boo. That's where they are right now. I'm having a conversation with them later today. We'll see what they say about it. But they've done a wonderful job with this.
They really have, and they're such lovely people.
They are.
It's so nice when lovely people make really good stuff. Because it's not hard to support them at all because they're great people and they're making great stuff. So
absolutely.
Yeah, it's lovely if you guys can check it out. I'm sorry if you can't, but we'll see what, Dean will see what he can do.
Yes, I'll just be asking. Just inquiring nicely. Yeah.
And then 2 days later, after that, September 27th to 29th, Alison, where will you be?
I'm going to be in Salt Lake City, Utah. Yes, where they grow osmonds. We love Utah and osmonds. And I'm going to be there because there's a marvelous event called Fan X. Okay, I have never been to this. I'm into the cons, but just getting into
People have
them.
written in the comments, Allison, saying you're going to love Fan X.
Well, I asked the nice man who booked me, which is Calvin. He was the thing
Yes.
to see me, Melissa.
Yes.
And I said,
Yes.
oh, I've been to Fanboy Orlando, of course, in Fanboy Knoxville. And I said, Fanboy was huge. It was ridiculous. It was huge. I said, is this as big as Fanboy? He said, oh, dear, it's 3 times the size of
Isn't that
Fanboy.
incredible?
I went, how is that physically possible?
Wow.
And as soon as I got booked, I got phone calls from other actors who go to cons. Going, how did you got into FanX? How did you get into FanX? Like, apparently, it's a huge deal. Apparently, going to FanX is a huge deal if you're into this. And I will be there all 3 days with, yes, arch nemesis Melissa Gilbert. We'll both be there signing stuff and hanging out. And then I'm going to be
I want to
visiting.
tell you, I was invited to come to FanX, but I was committed myself that weekend in another location.
Oh, I was going to go, but
I was going to go, but I had committed a year ahead of
You're
time
going to see
be
Laura.
in Laura Ingalls Wilder Days in Mansfield, and so that's where I'm going to be. September 27th and 28th, I'll be at Rocky Ridge Farm
Which is
in
beautiful.
Mansfield, Missouri, for Laura Ingalls Wilder Days. I'll be staying in this house. Let's take a look at this. There's a picture of this house.
that place. Oh my God. Yeah. This
So I
place.
don't know if Tony can bring it up right now, but there's a wonderful picture, famous picture. There are only about 16 pictures that exist of Laura anywhere. It's this house where I'll be staying, but the house has been remodeled. We were all there earlier this year as part of the Cherry Blossom Festival, and we may be able to do our first video roll-in as we were standing on the porch dedicating the remodeling of this house.
Cutting the
Tony, are
ribbons
you
and
going to be able to
everything.
show
Yeah,
us
yeah,
this?
He just showed the picture.
There we are.
There we are. And it
There
was
we are on the porch of the
raining
house.
and
Yes.
freezing cold.
Yeah.
And there we are.
And there we are.
Sorry, how long do I have to hold this? Ready? So cold.
Sorry.
2, 3.
I am staying in that house.
Yeah, because there's the Rock House is the Mansfield one where Laura and Almanzar are. But this was the place
where they were living before
when they were in town.
as they were building.
They've gone inside the inside because we saw
It
they've
looks
modernized
incredible.
everything inside.
Yeah,
It's
it's
all
gonna be
beautiful
great.
and fabulous.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Be staying there, and I will be there with Jen Brayler and her husband Jacob. We will be sharing this house over the weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun.
This is great. Do they know about the food contest?
Oh, right. There's an online food contest.
Oh, is there?
He's like it's awesome. It's all over Facebook now.
It's so
For
much
what,
fun.
in Mansfield?
Our wonderful friend,
No,
Mr.
it's
Mr. Stephen
online.
Wishnoff, our friend Mr. Wishnoff, who is a serious bonnethead at this point. He's a convert. He wasn't a bonnethead when this all started. Now he is. He said he had found some aspic thing, and he said, "Ooh, it looks like Mrs. Olsen." Well, he said, does anybody want to try this? And he put out a thing. Make your favorite character from Little House out of food.
Oh, right.
Anything
Okay.
at all. Anything
Yes,
at all. Nelly
right.
and noodles, what have you.
Yes. Yep.
And people have gone berserk. Apparently,
it's
we're all
so
judging it, and there'll
funny.
be some prize. It'll be in October. The woman who made the challah bread.
Yes.
Wagon.
Oh, okay. At the
Challah
event.
bread.
Yes.
It's the wagon that Cassandra and James' parents died. She portrayed the wagon accident in bread.
Seriously.
I ate some. I had a
Was it-
wheel.
was
I
it
had a
good?
wheel.
Well,
Bob
how
had a
was-
wheel. I had a wheel.
good.
It was delicious.
Yeah, yeah.
But she did. She submitted photos of that, and
My
Steve's still
favorite
laughing.
one were
Yes.
2 apples, and it just said Laura Ingalls.
A bowl, 2 apples. Laura Ingalls. If you know, you know. That was it.
You know.
Apparently, someone has for Nellie done a pickle in a glass next to a bottle of Mrs. Butterworth syrup. It's all, they're doing it. They're making
it's
all
really
kinds
clever.
of
We could get off on this tangent.
there you go.
Let's
It's
take us
happening.
into the
It's
show.
happening.
We need to meet our guest.
Yes.
Yes.
We need to meet our guest. Also, one last very quick thing.
Yes.
Apparently, I made a very, very horrible mistake in our episode when we talked about Harvest of Friends, because I thought at the end
Yes.
the blacksmith made an appearance, and I was all freaked out about it. It was not the blacksmith. It was another character. I got several.
because-
Was it
comments
Liam
about
O'Neill?
No.
Liam O'Neill. Was it Liam O'Neill?
There was
No.
different blacksmith because
Different.
what was his name? I can't remember his name, but there was
I
a
don't remember the
blacksmith
character's name.
back then, and he sort of briefly appears, and his name's up, and that's not. See, stay with the blacksmith. We had a
know.
perfectly good
It's
blacksmith.
just blacksmith
They brought in
trauma.
a new
All around.
blacksmith, and
Anyway,
Take us
from
into the show.
Studios of UB and Go in Burbank, California, and me from New York City. This is the Little House 50th Anniversary, a podcast. Okay, all right. Let's get right into the Country Girls anniversary party in Simi Valley. Yes.
The Simi Valley Chamber of Commerce. They came through. I was there the week before as we were looking at this space, and Kathy Van Etten, who is the president of the Simi Valley Chamber of Commerce, said, let's do a screening of Country Girls. But there was more to this. I mean, did you put the bug in Kathy's ear on this, or did she put the bug in your ear?
No, that's what's crazy. I had been talking about maybe just doing a party for my friends. I was going
in
to
a bar
like a
somewhere.
bar or a restaurant. I was going to go get chili and some beer, like, run the thing. And then I get a text from Kathy. Hey, we do our screening. We do like watch party Wednesday anyway, but we're thinking maybe we need to do a thing. If you'll come, we need a bigger space. I went, I so want to do something. Then you start to. And then he and Kathy got together. They hardly told me what was happening and threw me a damn party is what they did. Because I was like, what is happening and what is going on?
And you were there and it was great.
It was amazing. And who else was there?
One of the fun things about our celebrations is that we're always welcoming members of the Little House family that we haven't seen for a while. And now we saw her in Connecticut, which we saw her in Connecticut.
Name in which we do not speak, yes.
So Alison,
and she was lovely.
Absolutely.
And
She was
wonderfully
wonderfully
brave
verbal
and patient and made it through.
Yeah, she was great. So Alison, why don't you introduce our guest, because you know her really well.
So, Country Girl starts, and this horrid little redhead child is going, nice. And then I'm the country, and there's this lovely other redheaded girl who's like, stop that. Stops her little brother from screaming snipes, introduces herself to Laura, is perfectly nice, tries to protect her, is like sitting next to me in the schoolroom when I'm going, look of death, going like, what are you doing? Why are you so mean? And she's this lovely girl, tries to be nice to Laura and protect her from me. And then she went on to do many things, including a notorious horror movie. And then she became a fabulous news person. And I would hear her on the radio and go, yay, it's her with breaking news. Yes, the fantastic, cool. You know her as Christy Kennedy. You may maybe know her as a bunch of other things. But indeed it is. It's Tracie Savage.
Welcome, Tracie Savage.
Hi, Tracie.
Hello there. It's great to be here and join you all. Good to see you.
Good seeing you too.
Yay.
I was saying to you before that, you were at the Simi Valley 50th anniversary party, but it was so busy and people were it was so chaotic, and I didn't want to bother people unnecessarily. So I saw you there, but I did not come up to you because I felt like, I don't want to bother anybody. But now I regret that.
An amazing experience. I left the show after the second year and hadn't been back to the set. Hadn't really seen most of the actors. I'd seen Alison a couple of times, but in 48 years.
Wow.
And so when we took the bus tour out to the location, I mean, that was my couple of years of my childhood.
Yeah.
And I got goosebumps just being out there. It really brought back, so much, many, many wonderful memories and nostalgia, and it was really a wonderful experience. I'm glad I got to be a part of it.
Oh, I'm so glad you did too. But you played Christy Kennedy. I love that she has a first and last name. Like
she's a real person. Christy Kennedy and her hideous little brother, Sandy Kennedy.
I just learned of that. I knew I was somewhere in the books, introduced in the books.
Oh, yeah, she's a big deal.
In Connecticut, someone came up with the book Plum Creek and found the page where the Kennedy family, where I was introduced, where I was talking to Mary and Laura. Thought, okay, well, I really was in those books.
Oh, you were a big deal in the books.
Yeah,
Christy Kennedy.
Books.
It was the whole Kennedy
that
family.
then-
Yeah, it was the thing.
Yeah. So then does that mean, so you were in the first two seasons, but what were you supposed to be, or were expecting to be sort of higher, more of a developed character? Like, tell us.
Well,
tell us
no.
about
I think
that
where I
movie.
was going with this idea, Pamela, is that Tracie was in the running to be much higher up on the call sheet.
Oh, I see.
That every young actress in Los Angeles auditioned for these. If they were considered potential on this, they all auditioned. I mean, Tracie, you had the opportunity to be. You didn't believe it, I don't think, but apparently you were right in there to be Laura.
Yeah, so I had been a child actor. I did my first commercial at 2 years old, and I had done episodes of of Marcus Welby and Adam 12, going way back.
1 and 12.
Love American Style and My Three Sons.
American
Lots
Style.
of TV.
Yeah.
I had screen tested for the TV series Family, and I had screen tested later
to be the Christy McNichol character?
Yes. And so when I went on the original call for Little House, of course, I'd read the books, and I was Laura. I was Laura. I was that character. So I was so excited to go on the original interview. And then I got asked to screen test for it, which is really the final step before they select whoever's going to play the role.
All the way to screen test.
Through the years, again, this was probably 50 and a half years ago, my mother, Judy Savage, talent agent to child actors for 40 years, would always say, well, Tracie, you know, it was between you and Melissa Gilbert, just the two of you. And I thought, she's exaggerating. There had to be 6 or 8 of us. I remember the screen test. I remember doing the scene with Michael Landon. I remember being on set, but I remember seeing a few other people, and I just couldn't imagine it was just the two of us. And in Simi Valley a few months ago, saw Melissa Gilbert, hadn't seen her in 48 years. And she said, I still have the call sheet from that screen test. And I was really, gosh, I would love to see that. I can't believe it. And she said, you know, Tracie, it was just between the two of us. And it really, my mother was telling the truth. I got goosebumps, and I wouldn't change the trajectory of my career. I did 30 years as a broadcast journalist, television, and then radio, and now I'm a college professor, and I've loved every aspect of my career. But it hit me, wow. I said to Melissa, I said, can you imagine how different my life would have been if they'd gone that way instead of that way? And Melissa then said to me, well, can you imagine how different my life would have been?
Of course.
10 years later, and president of Screen Actors Guild, and you know, she stayed in the industry. I moved out of entertainment. Right. So it was really a profound discovery just a few months ago. That I had. Wow! It was between the two of us, and got right down to the.
So when you started, Tracie, how old were you when you actually started working?
2 years old. I did.
2 years old. Well, yes, you're a lifer, definitely.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes.
I was
you had a whole
slacker, man.
You were even on Little House.
Kind of. I'd worked a lot. You know, I had that girl next door counter girl look. Although I was only 10 or 11 at the time of Little House, but I'd been working since I was 2 and done a lot of commercials and, you know, episodic television. So, my family was in the business. My brother, Brad Savage, was the Disney kid, Apple Dumpling King, No Deposit, No Return, Return from Witch Mountain.
Isn't that amazing?
Red Dawn, and he had lots of films and projects that he worked on. But so we were a family bit.
So how did it work then? So you didn't get the role of Laura. So then, sorry, my phone's ringing. I'm turning it off. So how did it happen with that? You were on it as this other character.
I didn't get the role, and honestly, Pam, I am not bitter.
Well, good to know. I also read for the part of Laura and was relieved that I did not get that.
Yeah.
I didn't get it, and they just gave me the part of Christy Kennedy, which was the neighbor girl. She was a fixture in the books. Yeah. And I was under contract for 7 out of 13 episodes. I did maybe 13 episodes over 2 seasons, mostly the first season. By the time the second season rolled around, I wasn't in every episode. I wasn't in every episode in the first season, but I went on to start doing other things. I think I got cast in The Legend of Lizzie Borden and Montgomery as a little girl.
I love that movie.
I had to turn down a week on Little House. I couldn't work that week because I had already committed, even though I was under contract. The casting director said, Tracie, go ahead and do it. So I went and did. Anyway, after that, and I was working on other things, the contract ended after 2 years, and I fulfilled my contract, and the show moved in a different direction. And so
Alison, didn't you and Tracie sign your contracts? I don't know how this works, but you signed contracts on the same day.
We're both 7 out of 13, and it was supposed to be long, but we had like an option like so many years. Because in fact, I think the judge said,
the judge. Now, why a judge?
Yeah, because we were children. And when you sign a contract, thank heavens, if they're following the rules, it must be approved by a judge. And they were all by the book. We had a Coogan account set up, the trust funds. It was all, you're going to do this. And when we appeared before the judge, we had a very unusual judge, because often the kids don't appear, or the judge goes, yeah, whatever, stamp. This guy looked and said, these children, 10, 12, 12 years old. These kids, they're children. And he said, I'm going to say this right now to you lawyers from the network, from NBC. Yeah, you do this every day. You sign contracts with children and younger than this. It's not worth the paper it's printed on. And I don't know what judge you'll get if there's ever a problem, but if it's me, I'm going to side with them because they're minors and they actually don't have the authority to do this. So this is a formality. We're going to let you have a contract, but if they want out, they can get out. In fact, I'm putting in a stipulation that in like 2 years, if they really, really want out, there's nothing you can do. So like if I'd wanted to at 14 bail, that's 2 years, that if they really want out, they can be out. And I don't know if the NBC guys were going, wait, what? And the judge is like, no, they're children. They're children, and this is what we're doing. And he was like, do you understand? And we were like, yes, Your Honor. Like
that's an amazing story, Alison. I don't even remember it. I don't remember that day.
I was terrified.
I know it happened, but
we had so much adrenaline going through our bodies. We're standing going, we're in court. Are we in trouble? What are we doing? Yeah. And then we're going, yes, Your Honor. Yes, nodding our heads like, oh my God, what is happening? So it was all about, but he was like really like giving him the right. I was like, oh, well, all right then. Let's not get him mad. Okay. And then we did. And you were often there with your people. And I was like, this is a trip.
Yeah. I'm fascinated. You were also under contract for 7 out of 13. Yep. And then went on to do 15 out of 13.
I was just there. I don't know. It was amazing.
Well, when you're the
popular.
villain. Yeah, when you're the villain. Yeah.
But the Kennedys were a big thing in the book. There's a whole Kennedy family. There's Christy and Cassie and Sandy and whatever, and the Ingalls and the Kennedys. They're the Irish family in town. And yes, little Sandy Kennedy, our lovely Robert Hoffman, who we love, was annoying and terrible in the books, and the sister keeps him in line. So that was all like totally there. Yeah.
So I'm just curious, Tracie. So you're there. You haven't really been, other than coming to Connecticut, you haven't really been connected with this for a long time. How was it for you sitting in that space, watching Country Girls with this live audience that night, earlier this week?
Cheered every time you came on.
I cried 3 times. Like, what is that stinging in my eyes? Why am I crying here?
Who's cutting the onions? Yeah.
Yes, that's right. That's exactly what it felt like. I cried 3 times. I hadn't seen the show in decades.
Yeah.
Wow. You weren't even watching.
Once I finished Showbiz after Friday the 13th, I went away to college in Ann Arbor, University of Michigan. And then my knowledge of pop culture basically ended in the 80s because I became a journalist. And all I did was, watch news or listen to news radio.
Yeah.
So I hadn't watched the episode in decades and decades. And it's
so good.
It's amazing. And I'm so delighted and honored to be around and invited to participate. And it's wonderful to be able to get reacquainted with Alison and Melissa Gilbert and to meet Dean. And, this has been it's fantastic. I feel so lucky to be included and be a part. And I love meeting the fans. And it's just amazing. Now, I will tell you, I'm a college professor, and my young students, 18, 19 years old,
have no idea.
No idea. A few of the young women will know it and maybe have read the books or their moms had them watch it, but that breaks my heart. Now, I did do Friday the 13th, and all the teen boys in my class love that and know all about it.
I have to go back and watch
you were
that.
pretty hot in that, Tracie.
Well,
to say I just watched a little clip of that myself. Yeah, I did. I just wanted to see what that was because Tracie described at the event the knife piercing and the styrofoam and sending the styrofoam to her boyfriend in Michigan. So you really?
Also said you were slutty.
Well, I went from being Christy Kennedy to I was pregnant. There we go. I remember that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You were really pregnant, or you were?
Oh, no.
You were pretending.
Scaring you to death.
But the character, for some reason, God knows why, who knows why, the writer for Friday the 13th decided to make me pregnant, which of course then has become the big subject of controversy. Jason killed 2 people. Did he kill 2 people?
And killing a pregnant girl in a horror movie. Terrible. Okay.
Yeah. How did you're so articulate, and I love when you got up and talked in Connecticut and you talked the other night. What was that transition for you to go from, because you really had a nice career going, and then you make this decision that you're going to step in this other direction into reality, the real world. What was that decision for you?
So I, again, grew up in the business. My whole family was in the business. Every job I got, because it was a family business, and every job I got or got close to, it was, wow, this will pay our mortgage for the year. Fantastic. At 9 and 10 and 11 and 12. And I worked enough, but I was always kind of nervous. I was a little too buttoned up, to be a really good actor. Not that I really know how to be a good actor, but you have to be loose and you have to be open. And I was too sort of buttoned up and throughout my acting career. And when I'd get a job, I was always just a little nervous. And I also had so many disappointments, so many close calls, and it was a career that I had no control over. I got so close to major roles and was second, and I didn't like collecting unemployment, and I didn't work in a restaurant for the rest of my life.
It's almost worse coming in second than not even being in the running. So painful. Yeah. So but I'd been on television my entire life. And so it made sense to pursue broadcast journalism because I was as nervous as I was, I still had a comfort in front of the camera, and I knew lighting and angles and close-ups, and I had experienced that since I was 2 years old. So then I decided to go and study journalism and learn, ethics and rules and journalistic law and news writing and the inverted pyramid style, and really hone my skills as a journalist. Interned at a station in Detroit while I was in Ann Arbor. And then 6 weeks out of college in Michigan, I got my first reporting job in Toledo, Ohio, where I stayed for about a year. Scared to death. I remember my first live shot. My knees were literally shaking. They were. It was crazy, but I got through it. I learned how to take deep breaths and just look straight in the camera and remember what the story was about and recite it. And from there, I went to Flint, Michigan, where I stayed for less than a year. And then Dayton, Ohio, where I stayed for 4 years. And I really learned how to be a reporter in Dayton, Ohio. It was a very good TV station, the #1 CBS affiliate in the country. And I got to cover major stories, Republican convention in New Orleans, and, big out-of-town stories. And so from there, after 6 years of being a news reporter, I got an agent found me. I'd been covering a major tragic event in Shadyside, Ohio, and an agent found me from Los Angeles, one of the top talent agents, and signed me and brought me to Los Angeles, back home with my family.
You discovered.
And so in 1991, I moved back from the Midwest after 6 years on the air in the Midwest to Channel 9 KCAL TV in Los Angeles, and I stayed there for 3 years. Then I went to NBC for many years, and then I was anchoring on NBC and reporting and covered every big hurricane and, well, not hurricane, rainstorms in Malibu and
earthquakes.
Those few rainstorms that we get, you were covering.
You covered the earthquake instead of the hurricane.
But you also covered things like the OJ Simpson trial.
I did.
I can't even imagine what that was like.
It was crazy, and I still get together with my news colleagues, and we still remark how just
bananas
that whole thing was. The entire world was there covering it. And I was, for a year, I didn't come into the TV station. I went straight to the criminal courts building every day for a year, and was there. And then I got subpoenaed to testify. I had been breaking some news stories, and the defense team wanted me to reveal who my confidential sources were. And reporters have something called the shield law, which protects us from revealing our sources. So there was no way I was ever going to reveal the sources, but Judge Lancito allowed them to bring me into court.
He allowed a lot of things.
Scared to death. It was because here I am going to be on the witness stand. Again, the entire world was watching that trial and watching that event. And I didn't know what the defense team was going to pull and what kind of games they were going to play. And it was a pretty horrific, scary thing. But I got through it, and fortunately, I didn't, stumble. And it went fine. And Judge Lancito threatened to throw me in jail.
Wow.
He told my production assistant, tell Tracie to bring her toothbrush to court. Because if you don't reveal your sources, he can hold me in contempt of court.
Oh, wait a minute. But the shield law was there. How could he threaten you?
If the judge believes that the information that you have is so critical, like if someone had confessed to me, and I knew who the killer was. Someone had, and that did not happen. And if the judge had decided that it was so critical to the outcome of the trial, the judge could hold me in contempt of court. It still wouldn't necessarily violate the shield law, but then I would go sit in jail, and then whoever blinked first, right? But I knew I wasn't going to go to jail because I knew the information I had was important, but that I had reported on was important, but it wasn't going to change the outcome per se, or I wasn't pointing the finger at somebody. And so, but I still was nervous, especially when he's, teasing or not teasing, telling my production assistant to tell me to bring a toothbrush and be prepared to go to jail.
Wow. So. Even if you'd had to reveal something, if it had been pertinent to the actual outcome, wouldn't it have been like, okay, in chambers alone with the judge if you did have to spill?
Right. But
it would make you do that.
Right. But the problem is, your credibility as a reporter.
Once you do it.
Shot. If no one will ever talk to you again if you then turn around and
So you can bring in your lawyers and say, look, this is shield law, and you can fight it. You can fight it, basically. But you might. And
NBC sent an attorney there with me. They represented me. And the judge allowed her to stand next to me in case she had to object.
I don't remember that moment.
But they were so convinced that I was never going to take the witness stand because it was ridiculous. There's the shield law. Why would the judge even go through this? That they didn't prep me. They didn't spend time preparing me for this. And so the weekend before, I was at my house up in Lake Arrowhead crying all weekend, but then also saying, I got to get prepared for this. Let's role play. And I role played, and I had questions thrown at me so that at least I wasn't completely caught off guard when I took the witness stand, because NBC was so convinced I would never take the witness stand. And sure enough, that day I walk in, and within like 6 minutes of sitting down in the back of the courtroom, I got called to take the witness stand.
But you prepped because you knew. See, this was the thing.
Only an actor would have to do that.
I always knew you were smart. That was the thing, as you say, I was too buttoned up. I always felt like you may have been one of the most normal people on the set. I don't know. Was that a bad thing? And Christy Kennedy is this lovely, normal person who's like, why is Nellie doing this? Were you people all crazy? And I always felt that you were just extremely intelligent and sensible, that came off of you. And so, that you were like, well, I better prep. I might get dragged up on the stand. They're saying I'm not. But that's great.
In LA was a big deal, and I didn't want to lose my job, and I didn't want to get fired for doing something stupid or saying something stupid. So, but I will say, literally the night before, I was crying all night. Oh my God, my career is over. This is going to be terrible. And then I'd say, oh my God, I can't cry all night. I'm going to be on camera. With my eyes.
There's an actress in there still.
Still, makeup. Oh,
you know what I find so fascinating about
that was the TV aspect of
right. That never goes away.
Yes.
Well, but also it was black. Listen, we watched that trial every day for a year.
It was appointment television.
People rearranged their lives.
That was not a dumb thing to think. Oh no, I'm not going to look good on camera because But what I find so fascinating is that with this career change for you is that initially you were like, I'm comfortable in front of the camera. Why don't we try this?
Yes.
But did you know that you actually had the curiosity, the brains, did you know that this was going to actually be something that you loved?
And
as
perfect for you?
I'm good in front of the camera.
No, I did even before I knew. I actually originally, even before I went to college, I was kind of a tomboy. Hence the Laura character would have been right for me. And I was a bit of a tomboy, and because I played sports, and I wanted to be a sports reporter originally because the only female sports anchors and reporters were former Miss Beauty queens, and
like Jane
really
Kennedy
Phyllis
and
George, and so at that time, and so I thought, you know what, if I got an education and I studied and I learned to become a journalist. And studied, well, I could be a sports anchor and I would have something above the former beauty queens because I actually went to college. I went to UCLA for 2 years and then University of Michigan to graduate. And so that was my original approach. But after spending some time at a newsroom in Columbus, Ohio, I realized I didn't want to spend my career in locker rooms with a bunch of sweaty athletes. And I actually got to go meet the governor of Ohio. I was at a TV station. My uncle worked there, and he let me hang out in the newsroom. And I got to go meet the governor and interviewed him. I got to walk right up with him. I was probably 18 years old and stick a mic in his face and ask him some questions. And it was so exhilarating and thrilling. And at that point, I said, not going to do sports, but I am going to do news. And this is awesome.
Good for you.
So I knew pretty early on. And I knew also pretty early on that I didn't want to act as an adult. When I got Friday the 13th, I was already in college, and my mom was an agent. And she said, Tracie, there's a role I want to send you out on. And I said, Mom, I'm retired. I'm done. And she said, yes, but think about out-of-state tuition. You can pay for your college. And I thought, you're smart there. Maybe I'll do that and pay for my tuition at Michigan. So
Point.
And now you go to all of the horror movie cons.
Yes.
It's that child actor thing. I think it's bad. I started at 5. I'm a slacker. You started at 2. As much as one might love the jobs you got, you're not really picking the career at 2. You're not going, I really want to do that. So we are all in the position, all of us, and even those of us who decide we love acting and go on into it, that we're in a career we really didn't pick. And then we grow up one day and go, do I want to do this? Do I want to do something like this? And
you had to love it.
Found, because you are, as a journalist, you are fabulous. I can't tell you how many times I saw you on TV or heard you as Tracie Savage, and I go, yay! I was always so proud that I knew you, and I go, I know Tracie Savage. She was on Little House of Prairie,
so awesome,
and you were just so good. And I thought she did it. She found the thing she was supposed to do. The woman's a genius.
Well, I will tell you though, the thing that I'm supposed to do is what I'm actually doing right now, and it's my favorite job.
You're teaching.
I'm a college professor. My class starts in 16 minutes. And it is the most rewarding thing I have ever done. I love my students. I say I have one biological child and 300 adopted kids.
That's awesome.
It is really awesome. Plus the schedule you can't beat. I have 12 weeks off in the summer and 10 weeks off at the holidays. And I'm here on campus 4 days a week. So that is pretty amazing. But it's just so darn rewarding. And I'm teaching journalism, which is what I did for 30 years. And I'm teaching video production, which is what I did for the 20 years before that. So all of my careers kind of are coming together, in the classroom. And I literally every day knock on wood and thank my lucky stars for this job. Getting a full-time tenured teaching position. The first time I've ever had job security in my life.
Yes,
right.
Hello.
Ever.
Yes.
Ever.
Since you were 2.
Even as a news reporter, I signed a 2-year contract, but they had 1-year windows, so I was always looking over my shoulder every year of my career. So, so this is the best career. Right
10 years, a powerful thing.
Yeah. But it also does make you think, like, is there actual divine, guidance going on there? Because clearly you were meant to not get the role of Laura, right? Because that would have...
I think so, yes. I agree with that. And I did go back and get my master's degree at 50, knowing that, I'm aging out in news. They're hiring 25-year-olds to do my job for a third of the money I was making. So I got to figure out the next step. And I didn't want to leave Los Angeles because my family's here. My son was in school. And so I started, all right, what's next? what's next.
Good for you, Tracie.
She's so smart.
Yes.
She's so smart.
That's a
guys, I love you.
very
Gonna brag
proactive.
about you.
But it's also so inspiring. You know, it ain't over till it's over, right? Like life is a journey. There's new twists and turns.
Yes.
It's
There's no one
very
path.
inspiring. No.
Tracie, just thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
It's really great, and so nice to get to know you after and be part of this part of this Little House family, all of us together, and
I am
really nice to have you.
Thank you. I'm so honored. I feel it's crazy 50 years later.
How is this?
It's wild.
But yeah, thank you very much. It's been wonderful, and I any opportunity I can get to hang out with you all, I will jump at it.
Well, you're stuck with us now.
Hey, do you want a screen town party, country party?
Or the raccoon. You were in the raccoon.
That's right. She's in that one. We can have her
Jones,
back.
you're in that one. Yeah. Listen. You need to take us to a break, Pamela. Thank you so much, Tracie.
Go to school. Go to school. Say hi to everybody from us if they know who we are.
So I'm ready to go.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, and we'll be right back after this break.
When you visit Simi Valley, California, you're stepping into the pages of history. Go from the pioneers to the presidents. Explore beautiful wildflowers, hike through iconic Hollywood locations, and end your day aboard the actual Air Force One at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library and Museum. Throughout the summer, take the Little House 50th Anniversary Tour at Big Sky Movie Ranch. Less than 15 minutes from Los Angeles and 30 minutes from Universal Studios, Simi Valley has small-town charm with big-time history. Go to visitsimivalley.com for more information. We are so grateful to visitsimivalley.com for their commitment to presenting the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast.
And we're back, and we were just talking about how much we love Tracie Savage. She's the coolest. Love her.
Awesome.
Okay. We asked you guys for questions for specific to Nellie season 1, and we have a bunch of them. Are you ready, Alison?
Oh, God, I hope, because I have watched.
She's ready.
There's episodes I haven't watched in a while.
Always ready.
I'm always ready. But there are episodes from season 1 I haven't watched in a while.
Oh,
so I
okay.
may go.
I don't think anything is too specific.
Did that happen? Those moments.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
No,
Bring
I won't
on the
put you on the spot.
questions.
Okay. Darren Doherty says, hello, Alison. Hello. When it came to bringing the character of Nellie to life, did Catherine or Richard give you any pointers or thoughts on how she should be? Or did you come up with that all by yourself? And just generally speaking, several people wanted to know what it was like working with Catherine and Richard. Yes. So you can sort of add that in if you want.
Incredible. They were very parental. Richard absolutely did not give acting advice. He was of the Goodman School and was very sensible and felt. He did spot the Canadian accent day one. Said, come here, little girl, say roof, say about. He goes, all right, what part of Canada are you from? I go, my mother's from Vancouver. It's like, okay. Catherine, of course, gave pointers to everyone, as we have talked about before. You bet she had things. She was like, yes, you should do this, you should do that. And my favorite moment when I said, well, but I really should do what the director said. He's just the director. What does he know? Catherine... really when people say what I really want to do is direct, that was Catherine McGregor. She had advice for everybody. She was always telling people what to do. My dad actually came down to the set one day. You got to rein it in, honey. She's a kid. She has to do what the director says. You can't do this to her. It's like, stop already. She's like, I'm just trying to help. It's like, okay. So I would take what she said, like grain of salt. Go, okay, well, that's one approach. Let me put that in the hopper with everything else. But yeah, I did come up with an Nellie thing because I hadn't read the books when I got to the audition. I didn't know there was Nellie Olson. So it came off the page and like hit me in the face. I mean, as soon as I read it, I went, She's really 6 genuine oil paintings. Oh, yeah. Who is this person? And it jumped off the page and I went, yes. And I just kind of went with it. And then as the character developed, other scripts would come and go, oh, we're doing that. Oh, okay. And then the chemistry with Melissa Gilbert, it was like sparks flying, nuclear fusion. But then Catherine and Richard, there was chemistry. They were very parental. Catherine didn't have kids, and so she just totally glommed onto me. I really did have 2 actual parents living in the home, so I didn't need this, but it was great. My son had extra parents, and they were a riot. They were often They were a lot like their character. I mean, Richard was the most.
Oh my God, yes.
Like his character of anyone, but like he and Catherine would argue about things. They were old friends. They'd known each other for years, and they'd get
that
going.
Was not an easy relationship.
Yeah, they
between the two of them.
loved each other. They'd
much
known
like
each other,
their characters.
but they would start arguing about events of the day. And if you walked into it, you go, these guys rehearsing, or is this an actual conversation?
Oh, boy.
I no longer know what is happening. So they were quite the team, and I adore them. But that was the chemistry thing. Richard didn't give instructions. Catherine did, but I didn't take them all.
Mm-hmm.
But once you were in a scene with them, like, yeah, that's my paw. I had no problem. I mean, I printed off some photos for the 50th of favorite photos from episodes, and one of the ones with Richard, I'm just staring up at him, and it's like, yeah, that's working. And then Catherine,
So dear.
being in a
Yes,
scene
she
with
was.
Catherine was like the Carol Burnett show with Tim Conway and Harvey Korman. Try not to break up. Just try not to laugh. Good luck with that.
Yeah, she was awesome.
So it sounds like their relationship off screen was very similar, possibly to on screen, but also it seems like, despite maybe whatever clashing they might have, that they both really also had a lot of respect for each other.
Absolutely. Loved it.
Totally.
Yes.
Totally.
Richard would say, Catherine, no, don't. You can't tell me.
You cannot direct me. That's one of the
Do
famous
not tell me how to
conversations
act.
they have together.
Yeah. Don't direct me.
You do not direct me. You don't tell me what to do, and I won't tell you what to
He
do.
said, I will do my thing. 'Cause
You
he's
do
like,
your
yeah.
thing.
He's a graduate of the Goodman School. He did not need more. And he also
Well,
studied
but I mean,
at
it's
the
also actors aren't supposed to direct.
You're not
other
supposed to. And
actors.
he'd
I mean, that's
also
just the rule.
She studied, yes, you said with Meisner, but he'd
Yes.
studied with everybody too.
Yes.
He'd studied with all the
Yes.
top people in New York and LA. It wasn't like he
Yes.
came off a bus and just showed up,
Right.
for
Oh my
God's
gosh,
sake.
someone just posted a clip of her. Allison,
Yes.
what show was this?
I
It was
know.
a courtroom drama, and she.
Yes.
Could have been Mannix or
No,
something.
no, it's really old. It's really old. It's
Oh my
like, oh God, I have to look it up, but it's like called For the Prosecution, and it's actually early reality recreation TV.
Oh, wow.
It's
okay.
Several of the cast members were actual attorneys, and scripts were put together from a team of lawyers based on real cases, and that's why there's famous gangsters are
And
portrayed.
it's early 60s, I think. I mean,
Just
black and
barely.
white TV.
It's black and white,
she
weird. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
No,
I mean,
she
I
plays
know
a
she's
gangster's
brilliant
mall.
actor, but this was
Yeah.
so different than the Olsen character we know, and to see her
Completely.
in something so different and so
It's based on a real
brilliant.
case.
She's brilliant.
It's like transcripts from the trial, and she's on the stand trying to get her mobster boyfriend to talk.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
he's
yeah.
holding out. She's saying, "Don't go to jail. These people don't care about you. Go ahead, rat them out." And he won't. He won't rat out his team.
She's exquisite.
But she's on the stand. She's
exquisite.
going, "Yeah, I live with him. He took care of me. What was I supposed to do?" And she's like, "Just like, who are you? Who is this
She's
woman?"
this tough broad,
Wow.
and she's incredible.
I'd love to see that.
It's
it's
on YouTube.
I'll find it. It's on.
Okay.
Someone posted it on one of the.
Yeah.
fan
Let's put it in the
sites, I
show
guess.
notes.
It's going in the newsletter. Bob's like, "This is incredible." No, I
Yeah,
watched
and
the whole
also,
thing. It was
listeners,
amazing.
If we can't find it, whoever posted
Y'all know
that,
it.
or if you guys have seen it, will you please repost it for us so that we can show everybody?
I did find it is on YouTube, and it's a very,
Oh,
very,
it is.
very old television show.
Wow.
And it's written by lawyers using like real trial transcripts of famous
good.
cases.
She's
Great.
so good.
Next question.
Okay,
Yes,
next
that was
question.
great. I love that. Okay.
Randy Honig, our good friend Randy.
Oh, Randy.
We love Randy. Can you describe an average day for you? What time did you get up? What time did you leave your house
Damn
and
early.
get to work? When did you learn your lines? Did you have rehearsal time? What did they feed you for lunch? I want to know these things.
Lunch has become quite a hot topic with me and Randy and Jana, the lunch story. But indeed, okay, got up too damn early. Sometimes, a lot of times, especially in the first year, especially when we're doing my hair and then first working with the wig.
Before the
I
wig,
had
yeah.
to, and then even when we started the wig, it was new. What are we going to do? How does this go on?
Yeah.
I had to be there at 4 a.m. And living in West Hollywood, if that was Simi, that meant I had to leave the house at 3.
Ay, ay, ay.
And only 3:30 if it was going to Paramount. That was cool. But I had to leave the house by 3. So yeah, get up to 2:30, jump in the shower, get dressed, and I wasn't putting on makeup. I was get up, jump in the shower, throw the stuff on, and when I had my hair in curls, I was asleep in curlers. Get up at 2:30, jump in the shower, go to work. Like, what is happening? So I slept in the car a lot. I would lie down in the back seat. And then we get there, and then it was the makeup and the hair, get in that trailer, and Gladys would clack, 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 clack with the curling irons and the hairpins and do the thing. And Whitey Snyder, yes, Marilyn Monroe's makeup man, would get out the sponge. And if it was a cold day, if there's a lot of us or sometimes doing makeup outdoors and it was cold, he would use a cup of coffee to wet the sponge.
Oh.
I love when he did that. It was warm, and I smelled like coffee all day.
Right. It's certainly better than the cigarette scent that be on some of the guys' hands, which was
So what
a little
time
tough.
would you actually start filming?
If I got in at 4 and then got dressed and made up and everything by a little after 5, I'd be good to go between the hair and the thing and the makeup and the clothes. So by 5:15, I'd be ready to go. And then I get down there, and sometimes they were ready to go. If they were shooting like, oh, we have nice early sunlight, we're shooting this, you're entering the school, and hit the ground running. And then sometimes they go, great, you're right on time, and we're not ready. Please go do that schooling that we keep telling you to do. And I'd go into that lovely school building that you see, which had just had long tables and folding chairs and often a space heater on cold mornings. Yeah. And Helen Manier and Marion Fife and the rest of the kids. And we'd graffiti the table and pass notes, and we're all terrible.
Were there lights in the room? Was there any kind of lighting?
Like just like a work light, like a little space light. Like it was real primitive.
I never went. I don't think I ever went. I don't think I ever went in.
It was super primitive. Just a big empty room with a big old table and some chairs and a work light and a space heater and the teacher in the corner, and us like, me hiding a magazine behind my algebra book. I can see you. Oh, sorry. So we would do our homework sometimes badly, but they were there, and for like Melissa Gilbert, Melissa Sue Anderson, who had to take their exams, they could absolutely administer them, and it was good. And then she would sign my form and say, "Now I'm checking these boxes. That's English and algebra. So when you take to school, I'm not checking this box because I saw you reading the damn magazine behind the book." But there you go. And so we'd do what we could. We were all terrible children, and so, but after like a half hour or so, they go, "Okay, now we're ready," and haul me back out, and then we'd shoot. And we
started that early.
God, yes. Now that meant we went home early because as a kid, 8 hours plus an hour lunch, so 9 hours, bangs, you're out the door, and the ladies got the stopwatch, and you're like, so there's that. You'd go home early, but you'd start 4 a.m.
So how was the food?
Freaking fantastic. So
you always say the food's good.
If you got there early enough, especially at Paramount, you sometimes got breakfast. I remember them bringing me some bacon and toast and stuff when it was super early. They go, "Oh, you're early enough. Do you want breakfast?" "Yes, I do." And then at lunch, if you were at Paramount, currently, I understand the Paramount Commissary is fabulous. However, in the early 70s, the Paramount Commissary was not fabulous. 20th Century Fox Commissary, yes. Universal Commissary. Paramount Commissary was really bad. It was like bad cafeteria food, and people got food poisoning. People got sick. It was a runny. You didn't get the corned beef and cabbage, did you? Everyone knows not to get there's some bad stuff going on. And then there was one year they suddenly went in and like gutted the place and brought in a whole thing, redid it. So I sometimes brought a sack lunch. The crew went to Astro Burger, and if your agent was in town, you went to Nicodell's on Melrose. Nicodell's with your agent. So we'd go out to lunch, or I brown bagged it. Peanut butter sandwich, an apple, some yogurt, just like a school lunch.
That makes sense.
But when you went to see me, that was the upside. Too hot, too far, had to get there so early, but it was catered. Michael's Catering was the company, that big trailer.
It's actually Michelson's.
And Landon had picked it. My arm Michael Landon picked it because he was into the good food. He had talked about when he was younger and didn't have a lot of money. He's like, if I get rich, we're going to have steak every day. Everybody's going to. And by God, you could have steak. And so this catering truck was there, and they had all this food. Some of it was heavy. Sometimes, like I said, the roast beef and the tri-tip and the steak.
Yes.
But I remember sometimes.
You could get a little sleepy in the afternoon.
Yeah, I was like, they had some chicken and fish, but they also had salads. There was a table from here to the end of the earth with the different salads, from the macaroni salad to the Caesar salads, all the salads, lots of veggies. And I was told to eat my veggies, and I did, and little cartons of milk and drinks. It was amazing. You had a choice of 2 or 3 things when you got up there. And then, of course, unfortunately, you went into a barn, which indeed still smelled of horses.
Sure.
And sat at a long table in a barn. The Gunsmoke. It's the Men in Black barn.
Yeah, I mean, it was used for so many things. It's gone now, but it was used for so many things.
But we all sat there in this very dirty barn, and sometimes we go, let's just eat outside, because it was like, I can't eat in here, it's gross. But you'd eat, and then you'd eat your lunch, and it was fabulous. And the crew was really cool, because the rule is crew first, because crew gets a half an hour. We were getting like an hour lunch, especially us kids, but the crew had only half an hour. So you let the crew go first, crew first.
Yes.
But us kids, that crew would go, oh, no, come here, honey. And they put us up first. So lunch. And then ice cream. There was a big cooler of popsicles, fudgicles, really good ones. And the deal was you wanted to get there quick because you were too slow. You just got the orange push-ups. Yeah. So
wasn't it Wasn't it Patrick Leberteau who told us that the kid who was the
someone made a complaint.
Lobster again?
He complained about the lobster.
It was like, lobster again. Some weird spoiled kid.
Who would do that?
The food was not up to his liking, and I'm sorry, that the food was definitely up to him. If that food
really
was
good.
not up to your liking, there was something the matter with you.
I agree.
It was amazing. I brought a lunch at Paramount, but I went to hit that catering truck in Simi. And leftovers. I took leftovers.
Filming that early?
That early in the morning? I think for us, I mean, set calls were like, we'd come in, the men would come in at 7:30 for an 8 o'clock set call.
Okay.
I mean, that's sort of when, because it was
so
2
much
seconds,
too.
2 seconds to get ready for that. So 8 o'clock was sort of the normal, you might get a little bit of a rehearsal in before 8 o'clock, but you wanted to get the first shot by 8:20 in the morning, something like that.
The lighting was so nice in the morning.
Yeah.
Now, I do remember that was in the first couple of years because so many children and so many wigs and so many things happening. Once things kind of got streamlined, everybody got used to it and they figured out how fast they could get the wig on and everybody got things in place. I remember we stopped coming at 4 and it started to be 6 and 7. And when I got to sleep in to the point that I could go to work at 7, I was like, wow.
Yeah, pretty
Sleeping
good.
in, man. I don't have to leave the house till
Pretty good.
6 o'clock in the freaking morning.
Last question.
Yes.
Okay, Kim VS wants to know, was Jonathan Gilbert truly like your little brother? Did he consider you and Melissa both his big sisters?
Yes.
Which one of you got along better with him?
Me, yeah. No, all true. Jonathan Gilbert was Willie Olson, that little, we were watching Country Girls the other, and he does a thing, and get me a pony, and then he goes, it's like, yeah, that's our boy. The slightly maniacal grin. He was extremely mischievous. Big Willie Olson streak. Often in trouble. And sometimes he was being perfectly good, but he was so known, him and Clay Greenbush, the twins brother, were so known for getting in trouble and like being where they weren't supposed to be and breaking stuff. Something would fall and break, and the crew would go, Jonathan! And he'd go, I'm sitting here. I'm right here in my chair. I didn't do it this time. I swear to God. It's like, oh, sorry, it's not you this time. No, it's not me. He'd go to, we were in their 3-hour school. It's like, I have to go to the bathroom. And I remember a couple times teacher going, I would let you go. We normally let you go.
But you won't come back.
You were 45 minutes last time. So we're not doing that. You're going to wait till lunch. Oh, man. He would try anything to get out of going to school. So he was classically Willie. Yes, I adopted him immediately. Well, because Melissa was like, oh, he was the pesky younger brother.
Sure.
And there were times, the whole thing where he didn't like to read the scripts. And Melissa's like, I am not explaining to the, you can come to me. You can come to me. And that was the whole thing. Why don't you read the scripts? I like to be surprised when I see it on TV. The kid was weird. But that's why Willie's.
It's actually a pretty cool thing.
It worked. You see him do it. Willie's in the moment. He's always in the moment. He has no idea what's happening.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, but you know what? He clearly loves you very, very much. Which
He's my baby brother. He absolutely. I took him under my
Simi
wing.
Valley Festival. Yeah,
I did, because when his sister was like, God, do I have to live with you? Go away. You smell. The younger brother. I go, you can hang. I go, all right, Jonathan, what do you want? So yeah, I said, she said, you can keep him. Do you want to take him home? You can have him. I will sell him to you right now. And so I absolutely adopted Jonathan as my baby brother, totally. And yes, I still adore him, and vice versa.
I think there are wagers out as to whether Jonathan will ever appear at another event.
I don't know.
People
It might have
all the
scared
time.
him a little, because he did. Melissa didn't. She didn't know 18,000 people coming. Melissa did not know it was going to be that big. She went, oh, yeah, it'll be nice. And so when he said, "What's like?" Well, some people will come. We'll make some money. It'll be fine. Well, I don't know how many people are coming. It can't be. I mean, the Hollywood show. She's thinking the Hollywood show will be about this.
Sure.
Maybe. She had no idea. So she's telling him it'll be fine. I mean, he right up to the point he's at the gate. He's texting her, should I do this? She's like, get in here. And she's like, okay, I'm doing it. And he shows up. And there's like 1 million people. And when we were doing our photo session, he's like, is it always like this? I go, no, it is not always like this.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
He's like, I'm really glad you're standing here next to me. I'm not sure what. He'd never done any events, not even during the show. And then we spring one on him and go, oh, surprise.
It was like it was the Super Bowl, his first event.
Right,
was the
right.
Super Bowl.
So much love.
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness. If he didn't feel that, then.
But imagine if someone said, hey, do you want to come with me to a ball game? It'll be fun. We'll watch a game. We'll get some hot dogs. It'll be great. And it's the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So he was like, what did you just make me do? So he a little freaked out. So he'll think about it.
or have you or anyone had any contact with him?
Yeah, there's been texting his birthday and stuff. Oh yeah, no, I have his number. We've texted, and Melissa keeps in touch, and so he's alive and well, and thinks we're all nuts going to these things. But there you go.
Good. You know, because people ask all the time, like, is he going to be in the podcast? And I was like, I don't even know if anyone's talked to him since Simi.
We have to try.
We should try.
We should try
because he would be a brilliant guest.
He'd be great. He'd be
brilliant.
And he doesn't have to go anywhere. He can sit at home and do it.
He can Zoom from from a basement, undisclosed location.
Yeah.
He can be in the bunker.
Let's start the pressure.
He can do it from the bunker.
No, we need to get him here. I agree, Pamela. We need to get him here. I think we need to wrap it up.
Oh my God!
Too.
Okay.
Listen, everybody.
Yeah,
it's been great seeing you guys. Congratulations on your birth of Nellie.
It was fabulous.
It really was. It's mind blowing. Just mind blowing.
Yeah. I think we'll probably be doing more episodes at some point because this is really fun. But you know, patrons and please join us on Patreon, and you'll see the clip from the viewing party. And please let us know what you'd like to see, if there are other episodes you'd like for us to cover. Right?
I mean, I'm just wondering, are we going to work our way through? You know, are we going to work our way through another 201 episodes?
Right.
I think probably not that many, but I think we do need to talk about, if there is synergy around particular conversation with particular episodes, we need to do those conversations. Yeah, that would be great.
Including the orangutan. But we'll get to that. That's season 9.
My
so
least
let's
favorites.
not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you to Tracie Savage. Join us on our socials, Little House 50 Podcast. Also our website, littlehouse50podcast.com. Anything else we need to announce before we go?
Food contest. I think I posted my it's on every single Little House on the Prairie fan site on Facebook. Wow. It's been posted.
It's hilarious.
It's on my page and yada yada. And the rules are very simple. I'm sitting here trying to pull it up, but it is make food. Make someone. The woman made the wagon. Make something from Little House or a person from Little House as portrayed in food. Do I have it? I don't have it. Anyway,
last night the other night in Simi Valley, we saw you as a balloon and me as a balloon.
Yes, which was
pretty cool. If the food is like the balloons, it's going to be incredible.
It is.
The contest is called "Who's Going to Do the Cooking?"
The cooking, yes, very good.
Create your favorite Little House character out of food. Make it as realistic or as abstract as you want. Out of whatever you want. Use your imagination, and there'll be prizes for best likeness, most unusual use of ingredients, etc., etc., etc. Least likely to be served at Nellie's, etc. And October is I guess the ending time, and and we'll be judging it.
Looking forward to it.
Please send in your most wackadoo things you can make it.
Okay. All right, you guys. We'll see. I'll write everything in the show notes too. So,
fantastic.
Look at that. And if you haven't joined us on Patreon, please join us on Patreon. The link is in the show notes as well. And it's time. Bob, get the wig. Let's fly, people. See you next time. Here it is.
I flew at the end of the show the other night.
You did it.